Rob, and you just got all your questions. But good evening, everybody. Thank you, Rob. And I just want to say, first of all, thank you to Cape Town Spud fans, Spud readers. I've already met some of you at the signing queue, and most of you are not from Cape Town. I was from Durban. Okay, so how many are not originally from Cape Town? Look at that, eh?
It's pretty much, Cape Town consists mainly of people who came from someone else.
I was wondering if it was that, or Spud had just dragged them all from Natal and Eastern Cape. But anyway, guys, I know you all live in Cape Town now, and this is your home, and it's a beautiful place. And there are so many things you could do on a night like tonight, even though the weather's a bit iffy. But to be here in this bookstore, thank you to Exclusive Books for hosting us, Pan Macmillan, my wonderful publishers, for sending me on this suicidal tour, really. This is the 12th night of my tour. Tomorrow is the 13th day. And it's my last day on tour tomorrow at least, but Pan Macmillan, I think, they felt sorry for me. I'd been on the road for so long, so they're only waking me up at 4:30 in the morning tomorrow, just to be on TV at 6. So thank you, Pan, I love you lots, but I genuinely, you guys have been incredible and you've really got behind this reunion. Rob, I'm so thrilled you are here, mate, because, when I was finding out who my discussants were, one by one, I was thrilled with them. And then I heard Rob was going to be in Cape Town. And I thought, you know what, that's going to be so great because I know Rob, and I know he's going to. First came to me. I think by then I'd been off the Spud roller coaster for about 8 years, as I called Spud, because I'm very much on it now. And it was good for me to get off. But I think when I was off it, I realized the true value of it and how much reach it has and how much it meant to people, how it got into people's hearts. It wasn't just, say, a novel that people enjoyed or laughed at or whatever. It really sort of spoke to their history, their families, their brothers, uncles, dads, who went to Michael House, sisters, whatever, who went to private schools, or even just anybody who went to school and had teachers like that, or embarrassing parents who drank too much, or anything like that, right? And it just, I think people have found it's opened doors, and I realized this by about 2020 that Spud hadn't gone away. And it was kind of an alarming thing at first to realize that probably Spud's going to outlive me. And he's bigger than me. His name is far bigger than mine, than the funny Dutch name on the bottom of the book. And I think that realization hits me, also how much it meant to people, that wherever I went, I always found myself talking to somebody about Spud, or them coming up and telling me a story, and not just, hey, I loved your book, but how it changed their life, or there was, my son went to Michael House because of you, and then I'm like, oh no, I'm done again, and they never pay me a commission. But anyway, that's for that. But I was working on other things then, so it was only really in early 23 that the idea started to come to fruition, where I was like, okay, there's space in my life now, this could be the decision to do this. I went to Alison Lowry, who is my Spud's godmother, or even Spud's mother. She first published Spud. She was the CEO of Penguin Books. She discovered it when it wasn't necessarily the most popular book in the pool to publish. It turned it into this major thing, and she has been my editor and almost a mother figure over Spud right from the start. So I pitched the idea to her, and she is brutal, right? She will tell me it's rubbish if it's rubbish, and she said it was a great idea, and so that gave me a lot of confidence. And then she hooked me up with Pan Macmillan, who really jumped on the idea. So I started working in secret last May, and the idea was that we were just going to release it when the book, announce it when the book was done. One, to just goose everybody up, but two, I had actually quite a tough deadline, because it sounds like you've got plenty of time, but May last year to like September this year to have everything done is quite
Had you plotted much of it out before then?
No.
It was just the kernel of the thought.
But you see, the thing is, when it comes to a Michael House reunion, or a Gordy as they would call it, it's like, what's going to happen, right? I can almost tell you what the weekend would consist of, right? Blow to blow to blow. But so the sense for me was, it wasn't so much about, it was like, what was I going to do with Spud, the Crazy Eight? we knew what the reunion was going to be like, but actually what was their reunion going to be like, and how was this meeting of people after 10 years, this little tornado that was going to happen, and how was that going to play out? Because when you're sitting there thinking about, you can go anywhere. I mean, they could tear up the school if they wanted to, and nobody would bat an eyelid. They'd go, well, that's normal. They could tear each other up, or they could do something completely offbeat and ridiculous. Somebody could get lost, somebody could go missing, anything could happen with the Crazy Eight. So you have, in a way, so much to work with, that it's also about going, well, they probably love good ideas, but what is the best idea, and what's going to open up Spud? And for us as a reader, not just the story, but what in the story is going to open Spud up so we can get into him.
So, when you first started getting into it and familiarizing yourself with those characters, again, I would assume some of them felt a little bit like putting on a pair of shoes, and you felt right at home. I'm interested to know which ones you found difficult, what were difficult access points for you, and obviously then the consideration of what has happened to this character 10 years on, and what has changed, and how has that affected the way they would respond to a situation now as opposed to 10 years earlier.
Very good question, Rob.
Thank you very much.
Almost Spot the actor asking about characters. I knew he was going, it's like a fly. It's going to land on the character. But you know what, Rob, I'm going to joke. But I actually write Spud like an actor would write Spud. I feel those characters. It's like if you were playing a one-man show, right, and you were playing all these men in a one-man show, going from one scene to the next, showing different men that were at a reunion. It would be closer to that than probably some literary, more poetic writer finding a similar story if he was writing that. So I get into Spud, it's about feeling him, it's almost like that physicality, like the voice, and the same thing with all the other guys. So finding them actually is easier than finding out where they've gone and where they're going to in the story.
Yes.
But that's almost the first thing, finding out where they are at the start of the story, and then how are they going to be at the end of the story. Now that's the other thing you've got to think about. So you know, the one thing would be just think, okay, so this guy's like this guy's like that, but then that's just your starting point. And now at the end, you know they're going to do a transition as well. So there's actually two transitions you've got to work in. Yes. The transition that the reader doesn't see, which is the last 10 years,
right,
that you've got to feel almost osmotically, he's got to bleed through my mentions, dropping this, whatever it is. And then the final other element, which is how does Bobo, Fatty, Rambo, Garth, Spud, all of them, how do they change? How are they changed by this reunion? Because for it to be successful, when Spud drives away from that reunion at the end, he has to be a changed man to the one that came through the gate. For me, I felt that. So it was so exciting, but it took so much work. You know, people I think would think that it's just, once I find it, I just go. And it's true, I can write a lot of words in a day, but that's not the full thing, right? That's just part of it.
Yes.
I probably wrote 250, 300,000 words for my 100,000 words that are left. At one stage, I took Spud to the Grahamstown Festival for 15,000 words, which only added to this element of like this.
Please, can you send me those? that you wrote for me, thank you.
And also, you have an editor. Great, I had Alison and Andrea, my publisher at Pam Macmillan, two very skilled women. Both their names starting with an A, so I call them the A team. and they like, John, just relax, it is funny.
John, it's funny. I promise you, it's funny.
And I accept that now, because I also had a break, and then I got back and I read it, and I was like, goodness, it is funny. You know, like, I just forgot.
Well, there's an enormous amount of work that goes into it, obviously, but there's the choices that you're making as a writer all the time, and that's got everything to do with the fact that how much has changed since the last time to now, and then what has to change through the course of the writer. I can see you see yourself working against that through Spud, and that I relate to enormously. And what it does to us as readers is that we become the ones who yearn for the nostalgia. We're the ones who go, please just do the Crazy Eight stuff. That's all we want to see you getting along. We want to, Which leads to my next point, is friendship as a theme throughout.
Two great points, and the first thing is about nostalgia. I want to start with that. And you're absolutely right. I upend the expectation all the time, and I think that's the element of absurdism that links in there. That almost the important thing is that if I indulge that nostalgia, I feel that is when I'm losing. It's fine for Spud to just have a moment when he's driving to school to remember the simplicity of youth, but that's about all you're going to get.
Yes.
And maybe when you go out at the end, just a sense of it, how it all fits together. But it will be relentlessly non-nostalgic. But weirdly, Spud's always done that in a funny way. It's countered the nostalgia. At times but it's almost like when he's gone with nostalgia, he's earned it.